The mall was loud, too loud. Declan Hayes stood in line at the ice cream counter, his 7-year-old daughter Ivy tugging at his sleeve, her blonde ponytail bouncing with excitement. Friday afternoon, the reward for a week of finished homework and good behavior. He counted the bills in his wallet, $8.75, enough for 2 small cones, enough to make his daughter smile. That was all that mattered. 30 feet away, Sienna Carver stood with her daughter Quinn. The almost 7-year-old pointed at a stuffed teddy bear in a shop window. 1 week until her birthday. Not the expensive designer toys. Just a simple bear. $15. Sienna's chest tightened. When had her daughter learned to want simple things? When had she stopped asking for everything? The security detail was gone. Dismissed. 2 hours Sienna had promised herself. 2 hours of being just a mother, not a CEO. Not the woman whose face appeared on financial magazines. Not the target of lawsuits and threats. Just a mother taking her daughter shopping for her 7th birthday. The ice cream line moved. Declan and Ivy stepped forward. Ahead of them, a woman in an expensive coat waited with a dark-haired little girl. Ivy has always made friends before Declan could stop her. "Hi, I'm Ivy. You're really pretty." The dark-haired girl hid behind her mother's legs, peeking out with wide eyes. Declan touched Ivy's shoulder gently. "Sorry if she's bothering you." The woman turned. For a moment, Sienna Carver's carefully constructed mask slipped. Most people knew who she was. Most people wanted something. This man just looked tired, kind, apologetic. "No," Sienna said softly. "It's refreshing." Ivy crouched down to the other girl's level. "What's your favorite flavor?" A whisper. "Strawberry." "Mine too. We're ice cream twins." Declan watched his daughter work her magic, making the world a little brighter, one smile at a time, the way her mother used to. 3 years. It had been 3 years since Alara died. 3 years since the night that broke him. He pushed the memory away. Not here. Not now. When they reached the counter, Ivy looked at Quinn and stepped back. "You were here first. You should pick first." Quinn smiled. Actually smiled. Sienna's breath caught. Her daughter never smiled at strangers. They ordered strawberry for both girls. They said goodbye with Ivy waving enthusiastically and Quinn giving a small, shy wave back. Declan led Ivy to a table. They sat. They ate ice cream. 2 minutes of peace. Then the glass shattered. The sound was wrong. Too sharp. Too violent for a shopping mall on a Friday afternoon. People screamed. Movement everywhere. Chaos. Declan's body moved before his brain caught up. He saw the gun first. Then the man holding it. Disheveled. Wild eyes. Pointing the weapon toward the fountain where Sienna Carver stood frozen. No. Not at Sienna. At the little girl beside her. At Quinn. The world slowed. Declan saw the gunman's finger on the trigger. Saw Sienna's paralyzed horror. Saw the dark-haired girl who just smiled at his daughter, who liked strawberry ice cream, who was about to die. And in that split second, Declan saw everything he'd lost. Everyone he'd failed to save. Not this time. Not this child. Declan ran. "Daddy, no!" Ivy's scream cut through the chaos, but Declan was already moving. His legs pumped. His arms reached. He grabbed Quinn, spun her behind him, felt the weight of her small body against his chest. The gun fired. The bullet hit his left shoulder. Pain exploded through him. White hot, searing. The impact spun him, but he stayed upright, stayed standing, kept Quinn behind him. He looked down at the trembling child in his arms. "You're safe, kid." His voice was steady, calm, even as blood soaked through his janitor's uniform, even as his vision started to blur. The little girl was safe. That was all that mattered. His knees buckled. The floor rushed up. Darkness crept in from the edges of his vision. The last thing he heard was Ivy screaming his name. Then nothing. 6 hours earlier, Declan's alarm had gone off at 5 in the morning. Same time as always. 2 jobs meant early mornings and late nights. Janitor during the day, security guard at night. Enough to keep the lights on. Enough to keep Ivy fed and clothed and in a decent school. Barely enough. He'd made breakfast. Scrambled eggs. Toast. The same thing every morning because it was cheap and Ivy never complained. She'd bounced into the kitchen already dressed for school homework folder in hand. "Daddy, guess what?" What princess? I finished all my homework last night, even the extra credit math problems. Do you know what that means? Declan had smiled despite the exhaustion pulling at his bones. Ice cream today. Ice cream today. She'd hugged him fierce and tight the way she always did, like she was afraid he might disappear. He'd hugged back, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo, feeling the weight of responsibility and love settle over him like a familiar coat. On the wall above the kitchen table, Ilara's photograph watched them, frozen at 31, forever young, forever smiling. Declan whispered to her like he did every morning, I'm sorry. Sorry for the argument. Sorry for looking away. Sorry for being the one who lived. 3 years ago, his wife had died in a car accident. He'd been driving. They'd been arguing about money, about medical bills for Ivy's heart condition, bills they'd finally paid off, a condition Ivy had finally outgrown. But Ilara hadn't lived to see it. Declan had looked away from the road, just for a second, just to make a point in the argument. The other car had crossed the center line. Impact. Ilara died instantly. Declan walked away with broken ribs. The police report said contributing factors included driver distraction and the other driver's impairment. But Declan only remembered his own guilt. He'd been the one who looked away. Ivy had already moved on, chattering about her day, her friends, the spelling test she'd aced. She talked enough for both of them. Filled the silence that Ilara's absence had left behind. Declan walked her to the bus stop, watched her climb aboard, watched the bus pull away. Then he'd gone to work pushing a mop across marble floors in a downtown office building, invisible to the people who walked past him in expensive suits. Invisible was safe. Invisible meant no one asked questions about the dark circles under his eyes, or the threadbare jacket he wore, or the way his hands shook sometimes when he thought about that night. The night that changed everything. Across the city, Sienna Carver stood in her penthouse apartment, 23 floors above Pike Place Market, and watched her daughter pick at her breakfast. You need to eat, sweetheart. Quinn pushed scrambled eggs around her plate. Not hungry. You barely ate dinner last night. My stomach feels funny. Sienna knelt beside her daughter's chair. She brushed dark hair away from Quinn's face. These moments were rare, just the two of them before the chaos of the day began. Is it the party? Sienna asked gently. Too many people. Quinn shook her head. Can we not have a party? Can we just go somewhere? Just you and me. Something in Sienna's chest cracked. When had her daughter become so perceptive? When had she learned to see through the expensive gifts and elaborate celebrations to the loneliness underneath? Where do you want to go? Shopping? For my birthday. But just us. No bodyguards, no assistants. Just normal. Normal. Such a small word. Such an impossible request. But Quinn was looking at her with those wide, hopeful eyes, and Sienna found herself nodding. Okay, just us. 2 hours. We'll go to Westlake, you can pick out whatever you want, and we'll get ice cream. Quinn's face lit up. Actual joy. Unfiltered and pure. Sienna made the call to her head of security 20 minutes later. Ms. Carver, I strongly advise against this. After the antitrust lawsuit, we've received credible threats. 2 hours, Marcus. I'll have my phone. We'll stay in public areas. I need this. Quinn needs this. I really must insist. Your objection is noted. We leave at 11. She hung up before he could argue further. Later, she would think about that call, about the choice she made, about how one decision, one moment of wanting something normal set everything in motion. But in that moment, watching Quinn actually finish her breakfast with a smile on her face, Sienna felt like she'd made the right choice. The hospital was too bright, too white, too loud with machines beeping and nurses rushing and voices over intercoms calling codes. Ivy sat in a plastic chair, her ice cream-stained shirt, a grotesque contrast to the blood on her hands. Declan's blood. She hadn't cried since the ambulance, hadn't made a sound, just sat there small and still staring at the operating room doors. Sienna sat 3 chairs away. Quinn curled in her lap, trembling. The silence between them was terrible. Finally, Sienna spoke. Your daddy is very brave. Ivy's voice was small, hollow. Is he going to die? No. The word came out with more certainty than Sienna felt. But this child, this little girl who just watched her father take a bullet, needed hope more than truth. I promise, Sienna added. The doctors are helping him. He's going to be okay. Ivy looked at her then. Really looked at her. 7 years old with ancient eyes. People always promise. My mommy promised she'd come home. She didn't. Sienna's throat closed. She wanted to say something, anything, but what comfort could she offer? What words existed for a child who'd already learned that promises break? Quinn stirred in her arms. Mr. Declan saved me. Yes, baby, he did. He got hurt because of me. No. Sienna held her daughter tighter. He got hurt because he's a hero. Because he's good. And being good sometimes means being hurt. The operating room doors opened. A doctor emerged, still in surgical scrubs, pulling off a mask. Sienna stood. Ivy jumped up so fast her chair tipped over. He's stable, the doctor said. The bullet went clean through the shoulder. No major arteries, no permanent damage. He was very lucky. Can I see him? Ivy's voice cracked. Please, I need to see my daddy. He's still unconscious, but yes, come with me. They followed. All four of them. 2 mothers, 2 daughters, connected now by blood and bullets and the kind of debt that could never be repaid. Declan looked small in the hospital bed, pale, bandaged, an IV running into his arm, but alive, breathing. Ivy climbed into the chair beside him, took his hand, and finally started to cry. Sienna stood in the doorway. She watched this stranger who'd thrown himself between death and her daughter. Something broke open inside her. She'd spent 15 years building an empire, building walls, building a version of herself that was untouchable, unshakable, safe. And this man, this janitor who probably made minimum wage and wore a secondhand jacket, had just shown her what real strength looked like. It looked like sacrifice. It looked like running toward the gun instead of away from it. It looked like whispering, "You're safe," even while bleeding out on a mall floor. Quinn tugged at her hand. Mommy, we have to help him. We will, baby, I promise. We will. This promise at least she would keep. Declan woke to pain. Sharp, immediate, radiating from his left shoulder through his entire body. The hospital room swam into focus. Beige walls, fluorescent lights, the antiseptic smell of disinfectant. Ivy was asleep in the chair beside his bed, her small hand wrapped around his. How long had he been out? The clock said 6:47 in the morning. Early light filtered through the blinds. A TV mounted in the corner played the news with the sound off. Declan's eyes focused on the screen. Security footage. The mall. The shooting. His heart stopped. The video showed him grabbing Quinn, showed the gun firing, showed him falling. But it was wrong. The angle was wrong. The editing was wrong. It looked like he'd used Quinn as a shield, like he'd pulled her in front of him to protect himself. The caption scrolled across the bottom, "Mall shooting hero or coward, video raises questions about man's actions." No, his phone was on the bedside table. He grabbed it with his good hand. Notifications covered the screen. Hundreds of them. Text messages, emails, voicemails. He opened the first one. From Pacific Janitorial Services. Dear Mr. Hayes, your employment is terminated effective immediately. We cannot be associated with individuals involved in such incidents. Your final paycheck will be mailed. The second message was from Secure Night Guard Company. Mr. Hayes, we're letting you go. The video that surfaced raises serious concerns about your judgment. Please return your uniform and badge by end of business Monday. The third was from his bank. Your account is overdrawn. Please deposit funds immediately. His hands shook. The phone slipped, clattered on the floor. Ivy woke up. Daddy! She looked at him with such relief, such pure joy that he wanted to cry. Hey, princess! You're awake. You're okay. I'm okay. The lie tasted bitter. The door opened. A nurse entered, saw he was conscious, smiled professionally. Mr. Hayes, how are you feeling? Like I got shot. That's normal. Pain medication is wearing off. I'll get you more. But first, there's something you should know. The video that's circulating online, I saw it. It's not real. It's been edited. Ms. Carver has made a statement, but it's too late, isn't it? The nurse's silence was answer enough. After she left, after the new medication started to dull the pain, Declan lay in the hospital bed and stared at the ceiling. He'd saved a little girl's life, and somehow the world had turned that into something ugly. His phone rang. Ivy's school. He answered. Mr. Hayes, this is Principal Morrison. I'm calling about Ivy. There was an incident this morning. Some of the other students saw the video. There was bullying, name-calling. We've addressed it, but I think it might be best if Ivy stays home for a few days, until things calm down. Until things calm down, Declan repeated numbly. Right, thank you. He hung up. Ivy was watching him with those two old eyes. The kids at school, she said. They're saying you're bad. They're saying you used that girl to save yourself. That's not what happened, Princess. You know that. I know, but they don't believe me. Her voice got smaller. They called me a liar. Declan pulled her into a one-armed hug, careful of his bandages. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you have to go through this. It's not your fault, Daddy. You did the right thing. You saved her. I saw you. She believed in him. His daughter believed in him. It should have been enough. It wasn't. Sienna Carver stood in her office. She stared at her phone. The same edited video played for the 100th time. It was masterfully done. Professionally edited. The cuts were seamless. The angle deliberately misleading. Someone had done this on purpose. Someone wanted to destroy Declan Hayes. The question was why? Her assistant entered without waiting. Ms. Carver, the board meeting is in 20 minutes. They're going to ask about the security protocols, about your decision to dismiss your detail. I know what they're going to ask, Jennifer. Rowan Blackwell is pushing for a vote of no confidence. Sienna's jaw tightened. Rowan. Of course it was Rowan, the board member who'd been circling her position like a vulture for the past 2 years, waiting for her to stumble, waiting for his chance. Let him push. I'm not going anywhere. But even as she said it, she knew the truth. The board was nervous. Stock prices had dropped 14% since the shooting. The media was calling it a PR nightmare. Her judgment was being questioned, all because she'd wanted 2 normal hours with her daughter. Her phone rang. Private investigator. She answered immediately. Jake, tell me you found something. I found everything. You're not going to like it. Just tell me. The video was edited by a freelancer in Vancouver. Professional job. He was paid $50,000 from an offshore account. It took me 48 hours to trace it, but I got the bank records. The account is registered to a shell corporation, and the shell corporation's primary beneficiary is Rowan Blackwell. How did you? Because I've been watching him for 2 years, waiting for him to make a mistake. He made a big one. I have everything you need. Payment records, email correspondence with the editor. Everything. Sienna's hand tightened on the phone. Send it to me. All of it. Encrypted. She hung up, stood, straightened her jacket. Time to go to war. The boardroom was too cold. Sienna had always thought so. Rowan Blackwell liked it that way. Kept people uncomfortable. Kept them sharp. 12 board members sat around the long table. Sienna took her seat at the head. Rowan sat at the opposite end, a slight smile on his face. Sienna, so glad you could join us. Let's skip the pleasantries, Rowan. You called this meeting. Get to it. Very well. The shooting at Westlake Mall has created significant problems for Apex Innovations. Our stock has dropped 14%. Shareholders are nervous, and questions are being raised about your judgment. My judgment. You dismissed your security detail against explicit recommendations. You put yourself and your daughter at risk. And now a man is in the hospital. The media is questioning whether he's a hero or a coward, and our company is caught in the crossfire. Sienna let him finish. Let him have his moment. Then she smiled. You're right. My decision to dismiss security was a mistake. I wanted a normal afternoon with my daughter. I wanted to be just a mother for 2 hours, and that choice put Quinn in danger. I will have to live with that. Rowan leaned back, satisfaction clear on his face. He thought he'd won. However, Sienna continued, there's something else we need to discuss. The video. The one that's destroying Declan Hayes' reputation. The one that makes him look like a coward instead of the hero who saved my daughter's life. What about it? It's been professionally edited, deliberately altered to make Mr. Hayes look guilty. Someone paid $50,000 to destroy a good man's life. Someone with access to the raw security footage. Someone with motive to create a scandal. The room went silent. Sienna pulled out her laptop, connected it to the projector. I hired an investigator. Here's what he found. The screen filled with bank records, payment transfers, email correspondence. Rowan's face went white. You see, Rowan, while you were busy trying to oust me, you made a critical error. You left a trail, and that trail leads directly to you. This is absurd. This is slander. This is evidence. Evidence that you paid to have that video edited. Evidence that you exploited a tragedy for your own political gain. Evidence that you've been embezzling from this company for 3 years. $15 million funneled through fake vendor contracts. You destroyed an employee named Derek Voss when he accidentally discovered evidence of your fraud. You framed him as a thief. His wife committed suicide 6 months ago because of what you did to them. She turned to the rest of the board. Derek Voss was the shooter, a broken man who blamed me for his destroyed life. But I didn't destroy him. Rowan did, to cover his crimes. The door opened. 2 FBI agents entered, shields visible on their belts. The room went dead silent. Rowan Blackwell. Every head turned. Rowan's face drained of color. This is absurd. I'm in the middle of a board meeting. Sir, please stand. Rowan stood knuckles white as he gripped the table. You can't do this. I'm a board member. I have lawyers. I have rights. Agent Rodriguez stepped forward, handcuffs already in hand. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. I know my rights. Rowan's voice cracked. He looked around the table desperate. Richard, Sarah, someone tell them this is a mistake. No one moved. No one met his eyes. The handcuffs clicked. As they led him toward the door, Rowan looked back at Sienna, his face twisted with rage and desperation. This isn't over. Sienna met his gaze steady and cold. Yes, Rowan, it is. The door closed behind the agents. Richard Chen, board chairman, cleared his throat. Sienna, on behalf of the board, we owe you an apology. We doubted you. We almost let that man destroy everything you've built. Apology accepted. Now let's move forward. There's one more matter. Richard slid a folder across the table. Mr. Hayes' medical bills. $87,000 for saving your daughter's life. The board voted unanimously this morning. Apex Innovations will cover it. All of it. It's the least we can do. Sienna's throat tightened. Thank you. And, Richard continued, we're establishing a victim support fund. Derek Voss will receive psychiatric therapy, job placement, assistance, and financial support. What Rowan did to him, to his family, we want to make it right. The man needs help, not punishment. Sienna nodded. What's his status? He's in a psychiatric facility, getting help. The district attorney dropped the attempted murder charges to reckless endangerment with extreme mitigating circumstances. He'll serve probation, complete therapy, not prison time. The DA agreed Derek was a victim too, of Rowan's greed and manipulation. For the first time since the shooting, Sienna felt like she could breathe. Declan was discharged from the hospital 3 days after the shooting. The social worker handed him paperwork. Your bill has been settled, she said with a smile. Apex Innovations paid it in full. You don't owe anything. Declan stared at her. What? Ms. Carver's company covered your medical expenses, all $87,000. His vision blurred. He couldn't speak. Ivy squeezed his hand. See, Daddy, people can be good. They took the bus home. The apartment felt different now. Not smaller, not darker, just temporary. Ivy went straight to her room, came back with a piece of paper. I made this for you, at school, before everything. It was a drawing, crayon, simple, a stick figure with angel wings standing next to a smaller stick figure. My hero daddy written across the top in careful crooked letters. Declan's throat closed. The other kids laughed at it, Ivy said. They said you're not a hero. They said you're a bad man. But I don't care what they say. I know the truth. She climbed into his lap, careful of his injured shoulder. Daddy, you know what you taught me? What's that, princess? You taught me that broken things can still be beautiful. Remember when we fixed my dollhouse, it fell and broke into pieces, and we glued it back together. You said the cracks made it special, made it ours, like it had a story now. Tears streamed down Declan's face. We're like the dollhouse right now. Ivy continued, her voice steady and sure. We're broken. We have cracks, but we're still us, and we're still beautiful, and we'll be okay. Together. He held his daughter and let himself cry. For the first time since Alara died, he let the tears come. 7 years old, and wiser than he'd ever been. The knock on the door came that evening. Declan almost didn't answer, but Ivy was already at the door, peering through the peephole. Daddy, it's her. It's the lady from the mall. And her daughter. Declan opened the door. Sienna Carver stood in the hallway of his building, looking impossibly out of place in her designer clothes. Quinn peeked out from behind her. Mr. Hayes, Sienna started. I'm sorry to come unannounced, but... Quinn broke away from her mother. She ran to Declan, threw her arms around his waist. You're okay. You're really okay. It was the first time she'd hugged him. Declan knelt, wincing at the pain in his shoulder, and hugged her back. I'm okay, kiddo. I promised, remember. Quinn was crying. I was so scared. I thought the bad man hurt you forever. Despite everything, Declan smiled. I'm tougher than I look. Sienna's eyes were wet. She looked at her daughter, clinging to this stranger who'd saved her life. Something in her expression was raw, vulnerable. Can we come in? She asked. Declan stepped back. Let them in. The apartment was small, worn, nothing like the world Sienna came from, but she didn't seem to notice. She sat on his couch like it was fine. Ivy and Quinn disappeared into Ivy's room, immediately chattering like old friends. Silence settled between the adults. Finally, Sienna spoke. I came to say thank you, properly, not in a hospital, not with chaos everywhere. Just thank you. You saved Quinn's life. Anyone would have done the same. No, they wouldn't have. Most people freeze. Most people run. You ran toward the gun. Why? Declan was silent for a long moment. Then, 3 years ago, my wife died in a car accident. I was driving. We were arguing about money, about medical bills. I was distracted for 1 second. She died instantly. I walked away with broken ribs. He stopped, swallowed hard. I've spent every day since wishing I could go back, wishing I could save her. So when I saw that gun pointed at Quinn, I didn't think. I just saw a chance. Finally, after 3 years, a chance to save someone. Sienna's hand found his. It wasn't your fault. The accident. I know that. In my head, I know that. But guilt doesn't live in your head. It lives in your chest. And it's been sitting there getting heavier. And now it's a little lighter because Quinn is alive, because I did something right. Even if the whole world thought I did something wrong, the world knows the truth now. I made sure of it. The man who edited that video, who paid for it, he's in FBI custody. It's over. Declan looked at her, really looked at her, saw the exhaustion around her eyes, the way she held herself like she was bracing for impact. Why did he want to destroy you? Because I wouldn't let him steal. Because I'm a woman in a position he thinks belongs to him. Because I built something he could never build. She smiled bitter. He destroyed Derek Voss to hide his crimes. Derek's wife killed herself. Derek blamed me, tried to hurt Quinn to hurt me, but it was Rowan all along. I'm sorry for all of it. Don't be. He lost. Justice won. That's how it should work. From Ivy's room, laughter, the sound of 2 little girls playing. Quinn hasn't laughed like that since the shooting, Sienna said. The therapist said she has PTSD, nightmares, panic attacks. She won't sleep without the lights on. Ivy's been withdrawn too. The bullying hurt her. Children shouldn't have to suffer for adult cruelty. Another silence. More comfortable this time. Sienna pulled out her phone. I want to show you something. She played a video. Sienna speaking to camera, Quinn beside her. Both of them explaining the truth. Both of them defending Declan. This went viral, Sienna said. 12 million views, the narrative changed. You're a hero again. The companies that fired you are calling back. The damage is already done. Maybe, but I want to fix what I can. She put the phone away. My head of security failed me. He should have insisted on proper protection. I need someone new, and I want it to be you." Declan stared. "What? Head of security for Apex Innovations. 150,000 a year. Full benefits. Housing allowance. College fund for Ivy. I'm a janitor. I'm not qualified." "You're the most qualified person I know. You saw danger and ran toward it. You protected my daughter with your own body. That's not something you can teach. That's character." She leaned forward. "I need someone I can trust, and I trust you. This is charity. This is payment for a debt I can never repay." Declan shook his head. "I can't accept handouts." Ivy appeared in the doorway, Quinn beside her. "Daddy," Ivy said seriously, "Miss Sienna is offering you a job. A good job. A job that means I can have my own room and you don't have to work at night and we can buy groceries without counting pennies." "Princess, it's complicated." "No, it's not. You always tell me that when someone offers help, you should say thank you. You should accept kindness. You should let people be good to you." "Out of the mouths of children." "She's right," Quinn added. "And I feel safe when you're around Mr. Declan. I don't feel safe with other guards. But you promised I was safe. And you kept your promise." Declan looked at these two little girls, then at Sienna, saw the hope in her eyes, the genuine offer. "I need time to think about it." "Of course. Take all the time you need." Sienna stood. "But before I go, Quinn has something to ask you." Quinn stepped forward, suddenly shy again. "Will you come to my birthday party next week? It's small, just people I care about. And I care about you. You and Ivy." How could he say no to that? We'd be honored. Quinn's smile could have lit the entire city. After they left, after the apartment was quiet again, Ivy climbed into Declan's lap. "Daddy, she's the one, isn't she?" "The one what?" "The one who's going to help us not be broken anymore." Declan kissed the top of his daughter's head. Maybe she was right. The party was overwhelming. Declan stood in Sienna's mansion. He held a glass of sparkling water, watched Ivy and Quinn run through a house bigger than his entire apartment building. Rich people everywhere, board members, investors, all of them making small talk, all of them aware of who he was, the hero who saved Sienna Carver's daughter. They treated him with careful respect, kept their distance, didn't quite know what to make of the janitor in the borrowed suit. But he didn't care. He watched Ivy laugh, watched her be a child again, unshadowed by fear and worry. That was worth any amount of discomfort. Sienna found him on the balcony, escaping the crowd. "You okay?" "Just needed air." "It's a lot, I know. These people are exhausting." "They're your people. They're business associates. There's a difference." She stood beside him, looking out over the city. Seattle sprawled below them, lights twinkling in the dusk. "The board approved something else," Sienna said. "A scholarship fund. In your name, for children of single parents. They want to announce it tonight." "A scholarship in my name? I'm nobody." "You're the man who taught my daughter that there are still heroes in the world. That's not nobody." Before Declan could respond, Quinn's voice rang out from inside. "Everyone, can I have your attention, please?" The crowd hushed. Quinn stood on a small platform, Ivy beside her, both girls holding hands. "Thank you for coming to my birthday," Quinn said, her voice shaking slightly. "I want to say something before we do cake." She looked directly at Declan. "A week ago, a bad man tried to hurt me, and Mr. Declan saved me. He got shot. He got hurt really bad. And some people said he was bad too. But they were wrong." Tears rolled down her cheeks, but her voice stayed steady. "Mr. Declan is a hero. He didn't know me. He didn't have to help me. But he did. Because that's who he is. He's good and brave. And I want everyone to know that." Ivy squeezed her hand. "And now we get to say something together." Both girls looked at Declan, in unison. "Thank you for keeping us safe." The room erupted in applause. Declan's vision blurred. He couldn't speak, couldn't move. Sienna's hand found his. "Come on," she said gently. "They want to meet their hero." He let her lead him inside. Let the crowd surround him. Let them shake his hand and thank him. But all he could see were two little girls beaming at him, All he could feel was the weight of guilt finally starting to lift. That night, Declan sat alone in his apartment. He stared at Alara's photograph on the wall. For 3 years, he'd whispered, "I'm sorry," to that picture every morning, carried the weight of her death like penance. But something had changed. He thought about what Sienna's investigator had told her, information Jake had shared, details about the accident, the other driver, the one who crossed the center line. Declan had requested the full police report, read it cover to cover. Blood alcohol level 0.08 on the other driver, just over the legal limit. Text messages on his phone at the time of impact. Speed estimated at 15 miles over the limit. The report was clear. Contributing factors: driver distraction in victim's vehicle and driver impairment in at-fault vehicle. Declan had read it a dozen times. He'd looked away. Yes, but the other driver was drunk, texting, speeding, crossed the center line. It wasn't just Declan's fault. It had never been just his fault. The guilt didn't disappear. Grief like that doesn't vanish. But it shifted, became something he could carry instead of something that crushed him. He picked up Alara's photograph. "I'm sorry I couldn't save you," he whispered, "but I'm going to let myself live now. I'm going to let myself be happy. I hope that's okay. I hope you'd want that for me." The photograph, of course, didn't answer. But for the first time in 3 years, Declan felt like maybe she would have wanted him to be happy. He set the picture down gently. Tomorrow he would accept Sienna's job offer. Tomorrow he would start building a new life. Tonight he would sleep without the weight of unbearable guilt pressing down on his chest. It was a start. 3 months later, Declan started his new job. The apartment Apex provided was in a good neighborhood. 2 bedrooms, heat that actually worked, windows that didn't leak. Ivy had her own room for the first time in her life. On his first day as head of security, Sienna met him in the lobby. "Ready?" Terrified. "Good, fear keeps you sharp," she smiled. "Come on, I'll introduce you to the team." It was strange walking through those halls as someone important, someone who belonged. Strange but good. They had dinner together that week, all 4 of them. Pizza and movies at Sienna's place. The girls fell asleep on the couch, tangled together like sisters. Declan and Sienna sat on the balcony afterward. "Can I ask you something?" Sienna said. "Anything. Do you still feel guilty about your wife?" Declan thought about that. Every day, but less. Less than before. Why less? Because I'm starting to understand something. Saving Quinn didn't erase what happened to Alara, but it reminded me that I'm still here, still capable of doing good, still capable of being more than my worst moment. And maybe that's enough. Sienna took his hand. It's more than enough. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the city lights. Something was growing between them, something neither of them was quite ready to name. But it was there, fragile, tentative, real. 10 months later, they were a family, not married yet. They were taking things slow, careful with the girls, building something solid. But the ring Declan had bought last month sat in his drawer, waiting for the right moment. Soon, for now they had Sunday mornings and shared dinners, and 2 little girls who called each other sisters. That was enough. One Sunday they went to Westlake Mall, back to the ice cream shop where it all began. Ivy and Quinn ran ahead, already arguing about flavors. "Strawberry. No chocolate this time." "We always get strawberry." Declan and Sienna followed, hands clasped. They sat at the same table, the same spot where Declan had sat with Ivy before the world changed. Quinn tugged at his sleeve. Daddy Declan. The name still made his chest tight. She'd started calling him that 6 months ago. He'd cried the first time. "Yeah, sweetheart. Do you remember what you said to me when the bad thing happened?" "I said you're safe, kid." Quinn smiled. "I think about that every day, because it's true. I am safe. With you, with Mommy, with Ivy. We're all safe now, because we're a family." Ivy leaned against Quinn's shoulder. "The best family." Sienna's eyes met Declan's across the table. "Yeah," Declan said softly. "We are." They ate their ice cream. Strawberry for Quinn, chocolate for Ivy, both arguing that their choice was superior. Normal, loud, messy, perfect. Declan thought about heroism, about sacrifice, about the split-second decisions that change everything. He'd run toward the gun because he couldn't save Alara, because guilt had driven him, because in that moment saving Quinn felt like redemption. But he'd lived, and living had given him this strange, impossible family, this second chance, this love. On the wall near the entrance, the mall had installed a small plaque. In honor of Declan Hayes, who showed us that love is the greatest shield. Below its smaller text, and in memory of all those who act when fear says run. Declan didn't feel like a hero. He felt like a man who'd been broken and put back together. Like Ivy's dollhouse with cracks filled with gold. Still broken in places, but beautiful, and whole enough to hold the people he loved. As they left the mall, ice cream finished girls running ahead. Sienna squeezed his hand. "You okay?" "Yeah, for the first time in a long time." "Yeah, I really am." She leaned her head against his shoulder. They walked into the Seattle afternoon. Four people who'd found each other in the worst moment and built something good from the wreckage. A hero isn't someone without fear. A hero is someone who acts anyway, who runs toward the gun, who whispers, "You're safe," even while bleeding, who chooses love when the world chooses violence. Declan Hayes had been a hero for 30 seconds in a mall, but he'd been building a life worth living for 10 months after. And that he was learning was the real courage. Not the moment of sacrifice, but the choice every single day to believe you deserve the life you'd been given, to believe you deserve to be happy, to believe that broken things could be beautiful again. He looked at his family, his daughter, Sienna's daughter, the woman he loved, and he believed. Finally, after 3 years in the dark, Declan Hayes believed. They were going to be okay, all of them, together.